Hello everybody, this is Tim again here in another video. This time I figured I'd react to something a little bit off my beaten path. Not a horror movie or really a geek culture type movie or a movie from a geek property, but more or less a reboot of Good Times apparently done by Netflix. Produced by Seth MacFarlane of all people. Now Good Times, it was a show, it came out I believe back in the 70s. I did not grow up with the show. It was obviously before my time. I never watched it. It had John Amos in it, who was in Die Hard 2. He was good in that. Um, the show itself, I've heard good things about it. I have nothing against the series. I've just never watched it. I don't know anything about it. Only thing I really know about Good Times is the dude saying dynamite. That's pretty much it. But I've heard good things about the show as far as like this trailer goes. So I'm watching this trailer pretty much just as its own thing. Like I don't know shit about Good Times really. I mean I've already stated that. So I'm just watching this trailer as 100% its own thing. It's produced by Seth MacFarlane. It's got like I think Wanda Sykes is in this as well as one of the voices. As far as this trailer goes, it looks bad. Okay, the show looks bad. Um, but it looks like it's trying to be like another Adult Swim show, maybe trying to be somewhat like Family Guy and like the humor about stereotypes, like the Boondocks show that used to be like on Adult Swim. I'm not sure if that show's still on. I really don't even watch Adult Swim anymore. Really, I just don't have time for stuff like that. But I don't even know if it's still on. But as far as like this trailer goes, it looks bad. The humor in it is stereotype humor about black people and their culture and stuff like that. And like satirizing cultures and stuff and races and stuff, that can be funny. I'm open minded enough. Like I'm not like some hardcore like censor everything or whatever. I'm fine with letting shows just be what they are, and then they get released, and then people can decide for themselves whether or not the show's for them or whether or not they personally find it offensive. I'm fine with that. Uh, But the problem I have here is it doesn't really. They're trying to satirize like stereotypes and stuff, but they're not doing anything with it. At least not from what I've seen from the trailer. It's just, well, here's another baby, which is similar to Stewie from Family Guy, and it's just being acting like a stereotypical gangster or whatever. They're just not doing anything with it. It's just like random black characters or whatever, like the father in the preview, just hollering out, "Hey bitch," or "Hey Negro," or whatever, talking about his daughter's boyfriend or something. It's like it's just there doesn't feel like there's any effort into the writing here. Like you can just, it's like they're hoping that you would just laugh just because it's unexpected that this show is just offensive for offensive sake. And sometimes like throwing out offensive for offensive sake jokes, they can be funny just because they come out random, but they usually work because they're in movies that are smart for the most part, with their comedy, or at least good with the delivery of their comedy, and then they throw in like an offensive for an offensive sake joke, like in the middle of it or something, so it takes you by surprise. So you're laughing about it. But this show is just that, like, looks like just that, and that's all. Like, it's just there. It's just offensive for offensive sake, and that can just get really old, to be honest. At least for me. Like if this show is just like like each episode where it's just like this stereotypical black hood family with the dad like walking around going, um, we'll smack this bitch or something. That's not. This is not very funny, and I don't see how that could like sustain a program. What I'm saying? Like in terms of a full in series, like how would that keep people like coming back over and over? It's like they're trying to tap into that young, like youthful audience of like black people and white people, or just people in general, I guess, who enjoy those shows, like maybe like the Cleveland Show or the Boondocks. But the Boondocks felt smarter than this, at least from what I saw. This just feels really lowest common denominator type humor. And like I said, sometimes that can work if you put it into an already like kind of smart movie. This shit just looks really low hanging fruit, where there's just not a lot of effort put into it. And according to people that I've talked to or I've seen on the internet talking about this, it really is nothing like the original show. So why the hell is this even called Good Times? It's like they just want to do like another satire of black America or black culture or whatever, and they just used the name Good Times, just adopted it so they could just try to sell the show, which is pretty lazy marketing wise. I mean, really, you could easily just remove the name Good Times from this, from what I've seen, and just change the names and call the show just anything. And if you're trying to do like a parody of Good Times, it's still not, still doesn't look like it's very smart in that regard. So overall, this just looks like a huge like misfire that'll probably die off after like one season or whatever. I've seen a lot of people upset about it because of the stereotypes and stuff like that it's portraying in the show and everything. Which, as far as like the whole thing, like what I'm trying to say is audiences, for the most part, I do think are smart. There are people on the internet who just get offended by anything. There are, and then there's other people who just think that you can be as offensive as you want to be, and it doesn't matter. You have to meet somewhere in the middle ground. Okay, at least in my opinion. I think black audiences and audiences in general would embrace this show if they thought it seemed clever from the trailer in terms of the stuff it was trying to make jokes about, satirize jokes about stereotypes and stuff like that. I think black audiences and audiences in general would be open to something like that if it was funny. This shit don't look funny. It just looks really lowest common denominator. I did get a chuckle or two from watching the trailer out of some of the stupidity of the jokes, just because they were trying to be so offensive. But overall, in terms of the way it looks, in terms of the writing and stuff, it looks bad, really bad. I don't see this show lasting beyond like one season. I could understand why somebody would be offended by this show. I can, from watching the trailer. I can get that. Personally, I think if you really don't like this show and you don't want it to succeed, I think the best thing to do would probably just be not to watch it and just let it get canned. And I think that's probably what's going to happen. I don't see this lasting beyond one season, because I don't think that audiences in general, even if they're not offended by it, I just don't think they're going to find it funny, because the humor just looks desperate. When you're just trying to be offensive for offensive's sake, it can just come off really desperate. Like Ryan Reynolds as the Deadpool character, he says a lot of stuff as that character, just trying to be trying to do offensive, just throwing out humor or whatever. But he has the charisma to deliver that, and it makes sense for that character. Here, this there's no charisma in the delivery of it or whatever. It's just thrown out by like standard black stereotypical type character versions of black people. So it's like doesn't work on any level, in my opinion, at least from this trailer. It looks like crap, and I don't think it's gonna last more than one season, and that's just me. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you again.